Hello and welcome to my Week 13 DFS cash game plays. We're doing things a little differently. Usually you would see me upload my Zoom video onto YouTube. Well, tonight we're just doing it straight from YouTube. So, howdy y'all, it's Big D here, and you know what time it is. It's time for my Week 13 DFS cash game. It's edition of the Big D podcast. As you can see, this live stream is taking place from the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. While you're here, please follow, give us a like, subscribe, and share all your positive feelings about my YouTube page. Also, if you want to check out the audio edition of this podcast, please check out Spotify and Apple because what's better than listening to this not just on the YouTube page, but the audio page. So, be honest, the Week 13 DFS slate is one of the oddest slates I've ever seen. I mean, there was so much running back value, and I'll tell you about my favorite running back plays this weekend. But to me, there's one game in particular with so much value in it, I can't wait to tell you about. It's the late afternoon game between the Washington football team and the Las Vegas Raiders. To me, this game has got every kind of value position we need. We've got quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. What else could you want? Except maybe a cheap defense, but unfortunately, I'm not sure there's a cheap defense. But to me, starting off with my favorite DFS cash game play of the week, Derek Cole. Derek Cole's 6-1. We know how effective Derek Cole can be as a passer. We saw what he did against the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Well, the Washington football team's like one of the worst pass defense in the NFL. Can't stop the pass. I think they're like dead 32nd in pass defense. Yeah, dead last. And when the Raiders play well, Derek Cole plays well. Generally, if Derek Cole's throwing for over 300 yards, you want him in your lineup. Made people a lot of money on Thanksgiving, but yet his price never seems to go up more than $100 or so. I mean, $6K against a crappy pass defense with no other concerns in Vegas. Derek Cole is not just the cash play quarterback of this game, but my favorite cash game quarterback of the entire slate. At running back, I love Antonio Gibson this week. I mean, at first I'm like, why is Antonio Gibson getting so much love? Well, Antonio Gibson may be the most may have the hottest 3 weeks people have not seen in a while. A couple weeks ago against the Bucks, he scored 2 touchdowns. Yeah, people don't rush for 2 touchdowns against the Bucks. 2 weeks ago against the Panthers, 19 for 95, 5 yards average. Monday night against the Seattle Seahawks, 29 carries, 111 yards, and probably my favorite news for this game, 7 targets. Now, yes, you may think Jaden McKisson's the pass catching back in Washington. Yes, but Jaden McKisson's not playing. He's got an injury. So Antonio Gibson will get more receiving targets. Will he get 7? Probably not. Could he get 3, 4, 5, 6? I think that's very possible. I think that is very possible this week. No other concerns in Vegas. Can Antonio Gibson get 100 yards, touchdown, 4 or 5 targets? Absolutely. That's all you want from a sub-6 game running back. I mean, and now, how about Derek Cole's trusty sidekick, Hunter Renfrow? One of my favorite players in the NFL. I've watched Hunter Renfrow for a long time, ever since he was a freshman at Clemson. Whether it was Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, or now Derek Carr, Hunter Renfrow is that security blanket over the middle of the field. And as he proved on Thanksgiving, with 134 receiving yards, everybody took notice. And Renfrow's got, 8 targets in 4 out of his last 5 games. The Raiders do a good job exploring the middle of the field with Renfrow. Could he get double-digit targets? Not out of the question. I mean, if you ask me, I'd probably say 7 to 10 targets. Could he find the end zone? Could he go 7 for 90 and maybe score a touchdown? And the reason why I like Renfrow is for sub 6K, you really want at least 7, 8, 9, 10 targets. Because generally, if you get that many targets, you could you're just a PPR monster, particularly on a site like DraftKings where it's 1 point per reception. Those points add up, and then all of a sudden you look and think, well, Renfrow's at 18, 19 points, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, not bad. And maybe not my favorite catch play, but I think if you need a cheap wide receiver, or if you're looking to double stack, maybe play this in like a GPP. I think Zay Jones at 3,200 is a really interesting play because Zay Jones got 7 targets in the last game. 7 targets at $3,200. That's not bad. You could do worse than Zay Jones. I mean, yeah, 34. I mean, Josh Reynolds is probably the punt wide receiver this week at $3,400. But I think Zay Jones at 3,200 makes a lot of sense too. If you get in that many targets, all he needs it's one big play, and Zay Jones could be that big play. I mean, true, Deshaun Jackson made a bunch of big plays on Thanksgiving, but Zay Jones cannot be forgotten. And now, quite possibly, not just the catch game play of the week, but maybe the entire year. Foster Moreau at $2,700. And you may think, who the heck is Foster Moreau? Well, he's the Raiders' backup tight end. And yes, Darren Wall is a great, particularly pass catching tight end when he's healthy. Unfortunately, Wall is not playing on Sunday with a bum knee, so it's his Foster Moreau chalk weekend. And the last time Moreau started was, I believe, week 7. We caught all 6 of his targets with 60 yards and a touchdown against the Philadelphia Eagles at the mid-price that week. So, will he catch all of his targets again? We'll see. But I mean, at 2,700, you're looking for at least 8 points. But be honest, Moreau's going to be like stupid owned in cash games. He's going to be stupid owned in GPPs. He's the guy you want in your catch game because he opens up so much value. You can play the expensive wide receivers. You can play expensive tailbacks. You could jam in anybody you want. And more importantly, if Moreau goes off, there's a good chance Derek Cole's going off. And yeah, you may think, well, stacking's not the best thing in catch games. It might be if you've got 2 guys costing you less than $9,000. But a couple of my favorite catch game plays in general, starting at quarterback, I think Tom Brady makes a lot of sense and what could be a shooting on that fast Mercedes-Benz Stadium turf. I mean, true, Brady's more expensive than Derek Hall, but we know the Bucs like to throw the football, and generally, if Tom Brady's playing well, he's doing it through the air. We know Brady's not going to be running much, but you can't go wrong with the GOAT, especially what could be a shootout. Another potential shootout could be the LA Chargers, Cincinnati Bengals, and I really like Justin Herbert. I think he's what 6,700. Herbert's just yeah, Herbert's probably a better GPP play, but I don't think he's a bad catch play either because Herbert's got the possibility of going over 300 yards, so he gets you the 300-yard bonus and get you multiple touchdowns. And yes, everybody remembers what the Broncos did on the ground last week, but even in that game, Justin Herbert played well enough to win. Let me see. He scored. Let me see. He threw for 303 yards, 2 touchdowns, and got 24.72 DFS DK points. And he gets probably a better matchup in Cincinnati. I don't think, I mean, there may be a little weather involved, but I think Justin Herbert, especially because he played at Oregon, should be fine whatever weather happens there. Plus, I mean, yeah, Cincinnati dominated Pittsburgh last week, but I'm not sure Big Ben's. Don't think Big Ben's quite in the Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert category yet, and at this point of his career. But now switching from quarterback to running back, and oh my lord, this might be the most insane catch game slate I've seen in a long time. Figuring out who not to play, but I mean, Jonathan Taylor, 9 grand. I went back and forth between Cooper Cup and Taylor. I think Taylor still makes for an interesting play. Probably a better tournament play now with all the cheaper running backs. But Taylor's a man amongst boys right now, especially with the Colts, a big favorite against the Texans. I think Austin Eckler. I mean, also you can never go wrong with Austin Eckler, right? I mean, he could be a runner. He could be a receiver. Heck, if they probably needed to, Eckler could probably throw the ball. I mean, Austin Eckler was so much fun, and especially this game's a shootout. You never know. I mean, LA may just throw the ball to Herbert on a little screen and let him take it in the end zone. But Mr. Madison is also an interesting play. Probably a bit better tournament play with all the other cheaper running backs. But remember, no Dalvin Cook with a shoulder injury, and we know Detroit's susceptible on the ground, and Minnesota loves to pound the rock. So it could be a big Alexander, a big Madison day. But enough of that. Let me tell you about my favorite running back values. Elijah Mitchell is so much fun to watch with the San Francisco 49ers. Do you realize he's run the ball 54 times in the last 2 weeks? 54! And did you see Antonio Gibson run the ball against the same Seattle defense on Monday night? Yeah, he ran for over 100 yards. So now you've got Mitchell in a good matchup without Debo Samuel, and the 49ers love to run the ball. And he's 6K. Yeah, I really like Mitchell this week. I really like James Conner at 5,900 because Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins are still iffy. And I believe there's a chance Conner could be a workhorse, particularly if there are weather concerns. You can just hand the ball to Conner 20, 22 times and just say, go get him, big boy. Jamal Williams at 5,400 sets up as a really good play because DeAndre Swift's out, as we saw on Thanksgiving. Jamal Williams is a capable receiving back. He got 5 targets, ran the ball 15 times. So is there potential for 20, maybe even more touches? Yeah. I think Jamal Williams could touch the ball 20, 22 times on Sunday. And now big injury question to me is whether Dale Henderson plays. Because if Henderson doesn't play, Sony Michel could be another stupid some value at 4,300. I mean, the Rams are what, a 12.5 point favorite against my Jacks. We've got no chance of stopping the Rams on the run. No chance in you know what. Doesn't matter. Dale Henderson, Sony Michel, heck, put Marshall Falk back there. We got with Steven Jackson back there. We've got no chance of stopping them on the ground. But I really think Sony Michel could be in that Foster Moreau group, especially if Henderson out, and it's very questionable. At wide receiver now, let me state the obvious. Cooper Cup's amazing, especially this year. That guy is amazing. Do you realize this year Cooper Cup has received double-digit targets in every game but one? And some people will say, yeah, his week 12 was disappointing. 7 for 96 on 10 targets for 18.60 kick points. And that's a bad game. And yes, some people will say, well, what if the Rams get up by 40 points? Let's see. Against the Houston Texans, he went 7 for 115 and a touchdown. Against the Detroit Lions, 10 for 156 and 2 touchdowns. Against the crappy New York Giants, 9 for 130 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Cooper Kupp is the expensive wide receiver to use this weekend. I mean, there are a couple of good ones. Chris Godwin, I think, is fine, even though he pissed off everybody last week. But between 57 and 5,800, there are 3 fun cash game wide receivers this week. I already talked to you about Renfro. I really like Michael Pittman this weekend at 5,700. Despite only catching 4 balls last week, he still got double-digit targets. Capable of 15 like he did against the Titans, so he can be a little streaky. But if the Colts throw the ball, Michael Pittman is generally option A in the whole attack. And T. Higgins finally got that breakout game last week. 6 for 114 and a score. If you've been using T. Higgins, and trust me, I've been using T. Higgins. He finally broke out last week. But yet his price tag didn't really go up like I thought it would. I thought it would have been in and around 6K, if not more expensive. But he's still pretty affordable at 5,800. A couple of my favorite value plays. I really like Josh Reynolds. I mean, he can be a target monster. Reynolds and Goff clearly still have that camaraderie from the time with the LA Rams. So if you need a cheap, and I mean the cheap wide receiver, Reynolds is probably your guy. And on the tight end, I mean, I already told you about Moore. I think he's really I think he is the cash game lock of the week, 2,700. But if you don't want to use Moore, or maybe want to double stack tight end, maybe James O'Shaughnessy at 2,600 makes a lot of sense. May have like third cheap tight end and flex and just play everybody else. You could literally play anyone else. And at defense, I think there are 3 good ones to use. Billy at 3,600 against Zach Wilson, the Jets. Jets are a mess offensively. They're just a mess. So I really like Philly. Arizona, I mean, I think Andy Dalton's playing, but really like Arizona's defense. And then Miami at 3,300. against Michael and with Daniel Jones on the sideline. I really like the way Miami's played the last couple weeks, and don't see anything change. So, in all, my Cats game lineup is looking right now, and knock on wood, it is Friday night. Things can change before Sunday afternoon, but my Cats game lineup right now is looking like Derek Hall, Jamal Williams, Antonio Gibson, Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman Jr., Hunter Renfro, Foster Moreau, Elijah Mitchell, and Miami Dolphins defense. I'm not exactly sure if that will be my final lineup on Sunday, but that's the lineup I'm going with right now. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Have a very happy, lucky, winning week 13, and I'll see you later.